That's how we own it. Woo! It's your boy, Mysonne'S.
And I'm Tamika D. Mallory, and this is Street Politicians.
Where the streets and politics meet.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What's going on? How you been today?
It's been good. It's been
What's
good.
going on?
It's been a full week.
Oh, man.
Since our last podcast, it has been a full week.
Full week. A lot going on.
Happened. And this weekend, wow. Everything.
Whoo! We was working, but
we did. We worked a lot this week. Until Freedom, our baby, our organization is coming together. You know, and a lot of people ask, like, they're like, how did all of this happen? Right? Like, everywhere we go, people are like, what's the story of how Street Politicians came about? Also, Until Freedom, and just the story of how we came together in general. And it's been a 6-year
about 6 years,
journey.
6+ years, man. Yeah. Just working, just. You know, I tell people all the time, man, sometimes you meet people, sometimes you have situations, and it's just a calling. You know what I'm saying? You were already doing the work, and I was fresh out of prison, just trying to find, not really fresh out of prison, but home from prison for a while, and still just trying to find my space. Doing music, I was doing personal training. Right. You know, I was just utilizing every attribute that I had to try to create a lane. You know, and we connected
at a service event.
At a service event, we just started the vibe, and then that's when you wanted to do personal training, because I was a personal trainer. And while I was training you, I started telling you about the music I did.
Exactly, and then we listened to it as our background music.
I was playing the music. And you was like, "Yo, this is dope," and then I let you hear this one piece that I did for Trayvon Martin's mother. Sorry. And you were like, "Yo, that is so beautiful. I actually know her. Like,
and I'm gonna send it,
which I did. To her,
and she fell in love with you.
She fell in love with me, and then you was like, I know my homegirl Carmen goes into detention centers, and she works with these youth. I think it would be dope for you. Introduced me to her. Next thing I know, we were in the Justice League. I was in the middle of the street at a march. For
your first protest.
First protest ever.
First protest.
You know,
and it's been a good, ride, but it's time for us to really bring all of what we have to the forefront, so that, we've done a lot to serve other people, which we will always serve all our organizations that we're members of, and, and just all of these other things that we do all the time to support other people's visions. But now our vision is coming to the forefront, and we love our Until Freedom family, specifically our co-founders, Linda Sarsour and Angelo Pinto.
Shout out to my people.
All y'all do is argue all the time.
All day.
We all argue
That's
all
what we do.
time.
And I think that's where greatness comes from. I think when you debate with someone and you have a different point of view, and you're able to at least let them understand your point of view, and then you come together and you form like Voltron, because everybody does different things. We have different entry points into this work and into this movement, but we all have the same goal.
Exactly.
So it's like with Until Freedom, is like a one-stop shop for everything.
We have to give love to our sister, our big sister, our mentor. She's not that big, though. She's still a little snack pack.
Little snack pack.
Cat Trig is a little snack pack from iWomanTV.
Snack Trig. Call her Snack Trig, not Cat Trig.
If you don't know Cat Trig, you need to, the
Snack
Trig.
That's a new nickname,
If you don't know it, you need to check her out. But we love our iWomanTV family. And so, like I said, this weekend in particular was loaded. A lot of stuff was happening. We ended the week last week with the Senate voting against bringing witnesses to the impeachment trial for Donald Trump.
I mean, that's like a sham. Like, this whole impeachment trial to me is a sham. And I get it, because we have to let the world see this. Like, it has to be documented how far they're willing to go to really undermine the government, like
undermine
America. Just undermine
the whole
America.
Constitution is being thrown out right now.
To really see this, like when you really watch this in real time, it's like you sitting there and you confused. Like, is this really what's happening? Because I know if this was me and you, we would be under the jail.
Well, let's save the conversation for later, because we really need to get into it. But that happened, and I think as you're coming out of the week or ending the week with the impeachment stuff just being, as you said, a sham, and then I received a text message actually from Angelo, our partner, saying Bloomberg might make the debate stage. Now, the rules for the Democratic Party had been that you have to have thousands of donations from everyday people before you can make it to the debate stage.
That's right.
Right? Now, all the people of color are gone. Corey's gone. Kamala's gone.
Kamala's gone.
What's his name? I was about to call him Fidel, Lord Jesus.
Castro.
Julian Castro is gone. All the people of color are gone. And now Bloomberg,
because they didn't meet these criteria.
Because they, well, it's not that they didn't meet the criteria, because they were on the debate stage, but it was becoming more and more of a struggle financially. The support that they need. Corey was having a hard time getting his poll numbers up, and you also have to be at least at 4%, polling at 4% in order for you to make the debate stage. So, you know, they were having some issues and challenges there. But these folks, all of them are gone, and now Bloomberg enters the race, decides he opts out of taking any donations from just the outside public. He's paying for his campaign himself, pouring millions and millions of dollars into his campaign.
Over $120 million
in advertisement, right?
Yeah.
And he's now eligible to be in the debate because the Democratic Party has changed the rules now. I mean, anyway, we talk about that later. The Super Bowl ads, of course, you had Donald Trump. He had an ad where he specifically targeted the black community around criminal justice reform. To me, it was extremely disgusting, but that's a whole different conversation. And then I want to make sure I say this brother's name properly. Gervonta Davis. That's his Floyd Mayweather's protege.
Yes.
Okay. So he basically snatched his baby mama, as they say, but I like to say his daughter's mother, out of her seat at some type of event. Looked like it was a sporting event. There were a number of TMT event signs around, but he snatched her out of her seat by her collar. Some people say his hand was around her throat. I'm not sure exactly, but definitely he was in that area. And, you know, there's a lot of controversy online about that. You know, and just what it means and what it looks like and the whole thing. So we can talk about that. And then, you know, last but not least, perhaps we won't get an opportunity to really, really get into it, but I think it's important for us to mention that the coronavirus is spreading, that there is now another possible case in New York. One case has been confirmed in Boston. I remember checking the numbers last week at some point, and it was 11,000 in one publication. By the time I checked again last night, they said 14,000 people in China specifically have been affected by this virus. And now we have more cases here in the U.S. Somewhere it said 9, now it says 12. So not sure, but people really need to stay protected, pay attention, and if you feel like you're sick, go to the doctor and get yourself checked.
ASAP.
And just right now, we're hearing from our producers that there's 17,000 at this point. So again, I checked last week, 11,000. By the time I checked yesterday, 14,000. And now today, we're hearing 17,000 people and 11 in the U.S. So this is very serious. And I think the important thing for us to know, I was reading the New York Times article this weekend that talked about how China was aware that this virus was spreading. They knew it. And in fact, they chastised doctors who were speaking about it to people who were outside of the hospital. So there was one doctor.
They tried to keep it quiet.
They tried to keep, but China operates on secrecy,
hush,
hush, silence. They don't like to talk, you know, I'm talking about the Chinese government, not Chinese people. So let's be real clear about that. But they operate on, you know, silency. Nobody don't want anyone in their business. You know, we don't really talk publicly about what's going on within our country. And in fact, there was a doctor who was quarantined on a particular floor with people who had the virus or who have the virus. And he texted some friends who are also in the medical field and said to them, I'm quarantined on such and such floor. This is very akin to SARS. It's a real big situation. And of course, those people went around telling folks. And when the hospital found out about it, they chastised him and then made him sign some type of legal documentation that he wouldn't talk about it anymore.
Wow.
So as a result of them not doing what was necessary and making sure that other governments knew about it so people could do the things that we see now where they shut down travel and also just inform people, if you go into China, know that this is happening. Because they didn't do that, it's spreading across the country, and who knows what's going to end up happening. So
wow, that's a lot.
These
man.
Governments have power over our lives.
It's really serious, man. We got to pray for the people in China. That's 17,000?
That's a lot of people.
Ooh.
17,000 people. So I guess we'll start with my thought of the day. I mentioned, you said Gervonta Davis, the boxer. And I'm really troubled, Mice. Like, I'm really, really, really troubled because I posted what I saw on the Shade Room and Baller Alert and all of these different sites. I saw that this incident happened. So you know me. Whenever I see a black woman being mistreated, I'm always like, my little spidey senses peak up and I'm ready to go. Because I know that, as Malcolm X said, the black woman is the most unprotected, disrespected person in the world. And so as I looked at it and I saw it, and for the first time in a long time, I decided I wasn't going to say much because, people always accuse me, you always bashing black men and this and that. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to say anything yet. I was going to wait until this was in the middle of the night. So I'm like, let me wait until I talk to you and, brothers and just be like, yo, do y'all see this? Maybe you could lead the conversation on how this is how this happened and what it looks like. And then I saw his Instagram comment, which he said, I didn't, y'all relax, basically. Yeah, I was aggressive, but I didn't hit her, and I would never abuse her or hurt her like that. But anyway, Happy New Year's, and January was trash. My thought of the day was around when I saw his comment. I posted it and I said, is someone going to tell him that this is violence and that this is abuse and it was wrong? Is anybody going to tell him that? And of course, over 2,000 comments are now on my page. Most of them, I will say, I would say like 70%, and that's a low rating to me, are people in general who are like, it's wrong, it's abuse, it's wrong, what have you. And I have to also say, I am very, very grateful and humbled by the amount of black men who are on my page saying, full stop, no, it's wrong, period. But there is another 30% of women and men, and a lot of women, not saying more, but a lot of women, who are saying all he did was hem her up a little bit. Like, you know what I mean? It's not really that serious. Like, come on. They telling me shut up.
But we have to get into this.
But the thought of the day, which I still haven't gotten to, is we need to have, first of all, a big conversation about domestic violence. And then the real question is, like, why don't other people see this as abuse? Like, what is happening that we don't see that as abuse?
Well, we don't see why we don't see that as abuse. I believe, and what I say is, we've normalized abnormality, especially in this culture, in the culture that we live in. Like, you'll watch, because this is common. This is not an abnormal thing. You be in a club, or somebody sees their girl talking to somebody. You'll see somebody grab her, pull her. You'll see girls hit their man, and people laugh and they put the memes up. And there's never really any seriousness because it has been normalized in our culture. Is it right? Of course not. I come from a family in which I've witnessed, domestic abuse, so I understand the seriousness of it. But there is a dynamic and a demographic within our culture who have normalized this, who used to getting hemmed up. They see their man and they argue and they put their hands on their man and he grabs her and they shake each other, and this is how they express some level of love. This is a normal thing that I've seen done numerous times with couples who you see together the next day and they didn't get into nothing. They'll laugh about it like, yeah, I was about to break his neck, or yeah, she know better than me. I had to hem her up a little. This is normal, especially within our culture right now. Is it right? No. But is it normal? You see that you have 30% of people who see that this is something that's they used to it.
Yeah, they feel like
they're like, come on, it wasn't like he said, oh, come on, I wouldn't do nothing like that, because to him, just grabbing her like that wasn't anything that was abusive. There was no level of abuse to her. It was just him explaining to her how he was mad. This is how he was able to express. If he didn't punch her, if he didn't hit her, it was okay. And I've argued with men on my page who have watched men fully beat women and said, well, she hit him first, or she's done this, like beat her like she's... So the mind state is way different.
Because the big question that folks had is, what did she do? What did she do to make him respond this way? And I can imagine if you doing something crazy, or maybe she texted him something crazy, or she was out doing God knows what. Maybe he saw her on somebody's stories, kikiing and too much, and whatever. Who knows? I could even imagine him walking up to her and arm in arm telling her, like, we getting out of here right now. I'm pissed off, this, that, and the third. We gonna discuss this or whatever. I could see that. But this is a man who is a boxer, his hands are considered to be lethal weapons.
Yes, they are. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. I get it. Yeah. But I also get that I'm telling you, you can go in the average club and see those type of situations happen all day. And people normalize it.
So that brings me to my point and what I said, because I think on the Shade Room, I said, when I saw your friends having a good time with him at the club later on, I said, no one's going to tell him that what he did was wrong.
Well, who says they did?
Okay.
Because all you saw was the picture.
And a video. And I totally respect that, right? I do. But I also feel like that's one of the biggest problems that we have, is allowing people around us to get away with things that we really should be like, I don't really want to hang out with you right now if I think that it's possible that you're abusive. Now, check this out. A woman sent me a DM afterwards telling me about another incident with someone very close to her and him. And then someone else came on my page and said some other girl named Ari, that I'm not sure who that is, another celebrity or whatever, influencer, whatever you want to call her, that she said he came to her hotel and tried to kick her door in, saying that he was going to beat her ass, right? So now there is...
I mean, but what happens is now he's opened up Pandora's box. Like, and this is what usually happens. If you're an abusive person, then it usually comes out. If you've abused somebody before, in even the most minute situations like this can uncover that. And I wish that it's wrong. I wish that that these are not true allegations, because he's a young black kid from the inner city, grew up in foster care. He's been by himself, come from the dirt, poverty. So from Philly,
Baltimore.
Baltimore, my fault. You're right. From Baltimore, and you want to see him become successful, but we can't condone things like this. But the reality is, there is a culture that is very toxic that we celebrate right now, and it's normalized. And we have to, of course, we got to call out things when we see it. When we see people do things, we got to call out. But what we have to do is try to start changing the toxicity.
But that's my question.
Of the culture.
Can you change the toxicity without challenging? I'm trying to figure out, why is it that I even and I didn't even bring this up in my post, although many of the comments was questioning why any other black men who were in that room didn't stop and say, hey, you can't take her out of here like that. You need to relax, man. You can't.
Because I'm gonna tell you the realest thing. In that situation right there, now, if he'd have punched her in the face and somebody got in, sure. I'm sure the woman would have
They
been.
don't.
Listen to me, but listen, no, listen.
And you know that.
I'm not saying just listen. I want to give my point out. Is that if he'd have punched her and somebody jumped in for her, she would have been okay. Thank you. But in that situation, I've seen those exact situations where the woman say, "Oh, mind your business. We good over here," and they'll jump you.
So that
I've seen.
So that's the issue.
No, that is the issue because people, especially in those situations like that where there isn't any blunt force and punches and things thrown, people don't know how far to get involved in someone else's relationship because they have thought that they were doing the best thing, and the woman tell her to mind her business. We got this. Don't worry about this because they have toxic relationships that these things are normalized.
So that's one. So now we need to be talking. I mean, it just feels like
it has to be a full conversation
always on us as women.
But I don't think it's on you. No, I think it's on. I think it's on a relationship. I think people have to restructure this culture of how relationships are handled. Because I'm telling you that 9 out of 10 people that you come from, you ask in our communities, especially in the hip hop culture, the young between the 20-something. A little bit before 30 or even 30, will tell you that, it wasn't that serious. All he did was grab her by the collar, like he ain't beat her up. Like, I'm telling you that's...
So in other words, there has to be a conversation across the board.
Across the board.
I'm personally hoping, in my thought of the day, that my son is being taught by every man around him, every man, that behavior is wrong, number one, that it doesn't matter what she did, that she's not your dog, she's not your child, because you're not even allowed to beat dogs, and they've stopped really allowing you to even physically chastise your children. Although my parents didn't care about that.
You grab your child by the collar, you ain't gonna get in trouble.
Okay, so but you still, it might be somebody that says this looks a little whatever and whatever. But I hope that people are telling them this is not the right way to behave. But I also would hope that if he does do it, that there would be a real come to Jesus conversation, and that maybe his friends wouldn't be in the club laughing and joking and having a good time, because basically what that says is it's a throwaway thing. It's not that serious.
So this is what I want to ask you, and this is a really serious point. When Solange hit Jay-Z in the elevator, did anyone say that she was wrong?
There was a number of articles and people who spoke to the fact that violence, no matter what, is wrong. And in fact, I didn't hear it. I heard her being celebrated. That may be what you heard, but I'm just telling you, there were a lot of people. And in fact, and I can find it for you and share with you. And in fact, there was an entire, part of our community, or many people in our community, who argued that should he have been allowed to hit her back because she hit him, right?
I'm just trying to tell you, in our culture, because maybe it was somewhere else, but I'm talking about in the culture where I live, it was celebrated.
But I'm just
Solange was celebrated as, that's right, you disrespected me, you disrespected my sister, we put our hands on you. It was put in music. It was there was nobody that I seen of any level of stature.
I think that we didn't look into it before coming here. If you had asked me that,
I'm saying I'm personally never
but
seen
I'm gonna go back and find it, because I know that there were stories where women were talking and men were talking about violence and how it's wrong and what have you. But what I will say is this: I don't think anyone needs to put their hands on anyone. I think everybody needs to keep their hands to themselves. I don't want my son's girlfriend hitting him. I don't want him hitting her. But I will say this: Black men need to understand, specifically, all men need to know, but Black men need to know that you got birth from a woman, that you got birth through a woman. And if you abuse the person that carried you and brought you into this world, it's some real scum shit about that.
I hear you, but we have to look at, like you said, what is abuse?
Abuse is, I'm sitting somewhere and you physically come and decide that I gotta go.
But I'm trying to tell you that it's normalized, and I've seen
women.
I've seen women do it to a bunch of men. Anytime a man would be in the club having a conversation with a woman, and women have come grab you out your seat.
I
I've
promise
seen it
you.
happen
I promise you
a
that
bunch
the
of times.
average man will not physically move when a woman comes and grabs him. I promise you that it's not physically possible.
No. What I'm asking you is the fact that he doesn't move.
No, it's wrong.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to say.
No problem.
Because she can't physically move him, but the act itself is the same act.
And I'm saying to you that it is wrong.
Okay,
so that's it.
I just think that
wrong.
it's a two-pronged conversation, and I think physical abuse
I don't,
in any case is wrong, and we have to have the conversation because the culture has normalized it on both ends.
Okay, that's fine, and we can be done with it. And I feel like a lot of brothers are out here talking about, respect the man, I'm a man, and what that looks like. And if it doesn't look like having the discipline that you will not in public violate, embarrass, and disrespect with your physical ability that is clearly more dominant than a woman, if you don't have that type of discipline, then don't come tell me about being a man. Okay. Don't tell me about that.
I hear you, but so
you want to have the last word on this? Go
because
ahead.
To me, listen to me. I'm an advocate. Like I cannot. You're not going to do anything to a woman in front. It's just not going to happen. Like it's never going to happen. But what I'm asking is, are we having that same criteria? Is you a woman putting her hands on a man? Does that exclude her from womanhood? Is that less? Is her lack of discipline?
It does show a lack of discipline.
I mean, but
it does show a lack of discipline.
Listen to me. You just said what you just said.
The problem is
no. I just want to let me say what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because you said if a man doesn't have the discipline enough not to put his hands or grab anything to a woman, then he can't talk about being a man. And I'm asking you, if a woman doesn't have that same discipline enough not to put her hands on a man, can we say that she's not a woman?
I think it's very childish.
Okay.
And I think it's very childish. And I will say again that there is a difference in the physical ability of men and women.
I think that,
and I'm not saying that it's right or wrong. And I think you're right. A conversation needs to happen again across the board. People need to not put their hands on each other. But the problem that I have with this conversation even is the equivocation that because we're talking about something that actually happened yesterday or the day before yesterday, that we need to now bring up what women have done also, instead of us being able to deal with the fact that this happened and there are a lot
but
of
I don't think that we're not dealing with it. I think that my position was that it's wrong. It is totally wrong. And you asked me why. Your question is why don't people care? And I had to break it down to why it is. Because when you can see Solange do that, or you in a club with a dude dance with a dude, and you see a girl walking behind him and start hitting him, and
dude dancing with a dude, yeah, that.
No, not a dude. I'm talking about a girl. A dude dancing with a girl, and somebody come up behind and hit him. And beat him up, and it's a number one meme, and everybody's laughing and joking. Ain't nobody saying, "Yo, that's messed up." So I understand your point of view. Because for me, I'm physically too strong. I'm not going to do anything to a woman because don't matter what you do to me, you can't really hurt me. So my first thing is to restrain you and harm you. So I don't see a need to return fire or harm you.
Fire, whoa.
Return fire. Because they firing.
About the woman
because a woman is firing. Just think about it. She's firing. Lord. That's firing. Look, if you throwing punches, that's what they call firing.
Some fire is Sold Not For Sale mixtape.
Their
mixtape is out.
There you go. That was a good segue.
Let me talk about fire. It. We're the Critics Corner, Linda and me specifically. Yes. We listen to everything that you say and read everything you write with a very fine-tooth comb. Mm-hmm. And I can say that I'm very proud of your growth because I certainly have seen it. And our sister Carmen was talking about that yesterday, just how much you have grown.
Yeah, she sent me a lovely text. Thank you, Carmen. That was
you've grown so much. And as I'm listening to Sold Not For Sale, the mixtape, I hear so much passion and so much, and just, I don't feel like you developed as an artist because you've always been a great artist to me, and I just think people need to listen. But I sat down and I listened to every single song, every single word, and I have to say that there are really, really some dope tracks on this mixtape. So shout out to you. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you
did
man.
A really, 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 really good job. So how does it feel? And talk about the process and the whole.
This is like the third project that I've created in the last few months. Chris Gotti, have been reaching out to me for a while, like, yo, I want to do some music with you. I want to work with you. I think you dope. I always thought you was dope. I love what you stand for. And, and then one day we were at the Rucker. I mean, not the Rucker. We were in the Dykeman playground. And then we just started building. He's like, come to the studio. And then I went to the studio and we just started working on a project. We did a project, that we already created. We had it's another project that you heard some of the tracks on, but we got about 20 songs and it's so like dope, and we waiting for the right time to release it. So while I was waiting, I'm like, you know what? Let me just put something out. I want to put a mixtape out that because it was a feel. It was just a feel.
Because people want to know why not the album.
Why not the album? But I was like, it's a setup because the album to me is even doper than this. But I think this is dope. But the album touches on so many different subjects and stories. There's so many different things on the album. But this mixtape for me was something that was like a 2.5 week process that we went to and we found some tracks that just married and had a feeling. And So Not For Sale is a clothing line that I work with my partner Lil Man.
Little Man, the tallest dude I ever met in my life, but he's Little Man.
He started the company, started the So Not For Sale brand a few years ago, and then we started partnering on it a couple of years ago, in which he's was the founder of that. And I say, you know what, this is something that represents me. You know what I'm saying? So that's where our partnership came, and I was like, this mixtape should be named that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that's always been my mantra. My soul has never been for sale, and because of that, I haven't been able to get recognition. I haven't been able to get on certain platforms and certain situations that I believe I deserve. I don't think there's anything that I lack musically. I don't think that there's anything that I lack in the entertainment, personnel, all of those things. I believe that I have all of the things necessary to be an elite artist in this field. But the fact that I don't, I don't go about it a certain way, and I don't kowtow, and I don't bite my tongue, and I don't feel I need to do things to fit into certain rooms is probably why I haven't. That's just my personal opinion. So this music was to reflect that. I wanted this music to reflect it and then also have essence of what it is that I represent. The movement, how it is.
Yeah, because in almost every song, it seems like you touch on just, the movement and not even so much the movement. That's one part of it, but just like common sense things and just like real authentic talk, specifically to young people about choices that you've made, decisions you made, and ways in which they can not fall into those same traps. So I just think it's a really good project. I hope that people will download it. You say it's on
Please, it's
all
on every platform.
I've heard that a million times.
It's on all platforms, man. Because I really just wanted to, like, a lot of projects I put on a few platforms, but this one I really was like, this needs to be on all platforms, and it's completely independent. I've partnered with Adventure, me and Chris Gotti. We just wanted to give it to the world. We didn't just promote it. We didn't do no big. We just said, you know what, this project for me is gonna be like an R&B album. R&B albums, they don't just go straight to the charts unless you just Beyonce or somebody. But what happens is they start to just grow slowly. Like you build. Like I don't mind building this project for the next 6 months. Like just building with it because I know each song is so powerful. Like I haven't heard one person that listened to this project that didn't have the sentiments you had. Like people was like, yo, this is an epic body of work. Like it is, the feel of it is just so real and authentic that it took me somewhere else. It's nothing like that's out now. It still feels current, but it has a feel and a vibe that it just empowers you. It makes you just feel something.
And I was studying your Instagram stories and really sort of studying what people felt about it, and I noticed that you're already starting to have certain songs that have a trend, like Rain that
has
seems
a trend.
To be
Broke No More with my boy
No More,
Therese Deshawn, So Not For Sale with Connie Sun.
And it seemed like a lot of people around certain songs that I also felt, I had a good feeling about, and you can see it translating into what the public is saying. So, Harry Belafonte said something one day that I thought was so powerful, and it stuck with me. He said that when he saw how Paul Robeson was being blackballed, Paul Robeson was a revolutionary, and he spoke truth to power. And anytime you did that, especially back then, you could be blackballed. And he said he started to see what was happening with him. And so he decided to continue as Harry Belafonte, this fine black man, successful, rich man. He decided to still continue to do the chicken circuit, like to still do small clubs and to stay down, stay 10 toes down, connected to the people, never get too high where they can take it from you, right? And I feel like in your situation, although it's topsy-turvy, it's been difficult, you have built such a strong and authentic relationship with people on the ground that no matter what, they support you. Because everywhere we travel, speaking and whatever it is that we're doing across this country, organizing, people love you and they come out and they support you and they treat you just like they do any other celebrity. So, you know, I think it's great. I think you had the right model, but I know it's frustrating at times to just know where you were and to have this be the new direction that you've had to take, but it's obviously God's walk for you.
Yeah, I think it's like you said, I'm building it in authenticity, man. I'm not compromising myself. I'm putting out music that doesn't have to go with status quo. It doesn't have to have a certain sound that is current. It just has what I feel.
Right.
Like I'm able to put my music and how I feel, and people are really just gravitating to it. So I'm just, like you said, I'm blessed to have people that love me regardless of the statue or what's going on or radio play. Like people have been on my page like, yo, we need a project, and you know, that was my process for it. Like I just wanted to give my hardcore fans, people that really want and believe in me, something to listen to. So I'm grateful for the way that y'all have received it. You know, and I'm gonna continue to push it. We're gonna probably shoot a video for every song because I feel like everything on it is visual and heartfelt. You know, probably might make a mini movie called So Not For Sale.
Oh,
to it.
Lord.
You
now
know,
we have to make it a movie.
You got to, because...
But you need to still focus on your album, so...
But it's a part of it, though. You know what I'm saying? I want the music to be the soundtrack for the movie because it's so real.
Tell people again how you can actually...
Yes, you can go to my page.
Which page?
You can go to my Instagram page, my son, NY General, and you can click the link in the bio. It goes straight to my website, and you can purchase it there. Or it's on every other platform in the world that you want to. It's on Tidal, Spotify, Apple Music, any other platform that you'll go to. You can stream it. And, you know, we just
for
need
people that don't have Instagram, they could go to your website.
You can go to my website.
Purchase it, which is...
It's mysonnyg.com. It's myson-nyg.com. And you can go right on my website and just purchase it by yourself.
People should know, just in case they forget, that means MysonNewYorkGeneral.
Yes, sir.
.com.
Yes,
All right.
sir. Yes, sir.
That's good. That's good.
Yes, sir.
And that was such a high to talk about your album. And I hate to go bring up the Senate stuff again, but we have to make sure, as this show is called Street Politicians, that we educate our audience and that we become educated on what's happening from a political perspective. I just think America's in big, big, big trouble. And we always have been.
You think?
But this is really... When white folks get scared, then black people should be terrified. And white people are scared. Like, there are many white people. I have been meeting white folks who are staunch Republicans. They are Republican. Their granddaddy was a Republican. Their grandmama was cooking pies for the Republican convention. Mm-hmm. Their children are Republicans. They are Republicans. And they are struggling with supporting the Republican Party right now. Many of them have, for the first time in their lives, in 2016, for the first time in their lives, they voted on the Democratic side. But even if they didn't then, because they still were so tied to it, now, as we move towards the 2020 election, they're like, there's no way I can support this. They're right. I mean, and I'm not saying let's not even get into, because I'm not saying at all that the Democrats are anything better. But I do know that President Trump is probably the most dangerous man in America.
He is.
And the party that supports him is definitely not for us.
And that's just always been my point of view. Like, people always say, "Oh, you Democrats and you talk." I'm bipartisan.
You're bipartisan. That is You're bipartisan.
I'm bipartisan.
Okay.
Because
hey.
Because the reality of the situation is, if I, because I want you to understand my position. Because if I seen somebody,
if I saw somebody,
if I had already seen, or if I saw somebody that was in the Republican Party that represented my interests,
right,
I would vote for them.
But that's real shit.
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
For
like
real.
People think that I care about a party. I don't
that's
give a
real
damn
shit.
about a party.
That's
You
real
think I
shit.
care about a party?
If they gave me
somebody of the Republicans was talking to my needs and the things that's going on in black communities and really was helping us and understood, I would vote for them. But the problem for me, where I have a disconnect, is you can't tell me that a party ran by white people. 98% of them.
The Democrats, there's white folk over there too.
No, they're all over there. But I'm talking about 98% of them are white people that come from privileged communities that I don't come from.
The leadership. That's a fact.
And even the people that they only have 2 black people in their party right now that are in office.
In the Senate.
So you can't explain to me that white people know more about me and what's for me than we do.
But everybody on the Democratic stage right now, they're all white people.
But what I'm trying to
who come from privilege.
What I'm trying to tell you is because we've narrowed it down. But there were people on that stage. There are people. There are hundreds of people in the Democratic Party that look like me.
And when so let's be clear about what we're saying.
Let's be clear.
Because it's got to be clear. So what you're saying is that when you see the leadership, all the folks that are hired, the people moving and shaking within the Republican Party.
Yes.
98% of them are white folks.
Yes.
That's leaders and most of the leaders.
And they're not poor, white people that come from the same.
Well, some of them may have started with,
but 90% of them are
but
not.
they probably
so
did.
if we take away
leaders,
the
leadership. That's an important clarification.
But I need to understand this. How many people actually are in office that are black Republicans?
Well, no. Okay, well, wait.
How many black Republicans have they actually voted into office?
Okay, but I'm just trying to go slow because people don't necessarily understand. They hear things and they go and they'll say, 98% of Republicans. My son said that 98% of Republicans come from privilege, which wouldn't be true because the Republican Party's body, just like every other body, when you start to trickle down, it's just everyday people who are part of the party. But from the top in the leadership positions, you're saying that the leadership is basically a bunch of privileged white folks.
What I'm asking you is
no.
What I'm saying is this.
Mm-hmm.
How many Republicans are black that are in office?
No, not in office. It should
What do you mean?
Because in these little towns across the country, there may be
but I'm trying to tell you that's not. I've done the study.
Well, you got to show me.
From the Congress, the Senate, all of these things.
See,
listen
that's
to me.
what I'm trying
Governors
to say.
and different. Listen to me. They're probably about
Tim
3
Scott,
of them. They're
exactly.
about 3 of them.
But
I want you to understand this. And I'm telling you, I've done the study because I wanted to understand why people are saying that we need to switch parties. I actually wanted to understand it.
Yeah.
And I've had debates with other people who are telling me they're black Republicans, and they cannot name to me a double-digit amount of black people that are elected officials in any state in America. Elected officials are Republicans.
Right, but there is a difference between elected officials and the leadership of the party.
But the leadership is even worse than elected officials.
I know.
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
What I'm saying is that I don't know. You are probably right.
Because I've studied.
But I do not know.
I want to understand.
That across the country, in every single state Senate seat and all these other city councils.
But I do.
I don't know that they don't have black people.
They don't. I'm telling you.
Okay. It would be really sad if when you show me that.
Yes.
It's really sad.
It's going to be sad.
But nonetheless, in the Democratic Party.
Yes.
You are right. There are many more people of color who are in leadership positions. However, in terms of Senate seats, not that many. Corey, Kamala. It's not like you're saying that on the Democratic side there's so many more.
They are. But that's what I'm trying to tell you. You saying it's not that many. And the not that many that we have is that much more than they have on the other side.
I don't know. Let's look at that.
Just look it up. I promise you, you gonna be surprised. Because I couldn't believe it that black people was actually telling me that this is what I needed, the party I needed to vote for.
Tim Scott. I think he might be the only black
I'm trying
person.
to tell you.
And then, but all I'm saying is that on the Democratic side is 2. So you're saying that one more is better than one less.
Yeah.
I'm saying, and I agree with you, that across the board, in terms of the leadership of the Democratic Party, which is not just people in elected office, the Democratic Party and all parties' leadership is not just people who've been elected to serve in a political office. There are people who are running the different committees. There are people who are running the party. And it is very true that the diversity in the Democratic Party is much more in line with who we are and our mission, and also much more representative of the communities that we support than the Republican Party. So we're on the same page about that. Where I was getting worried is around saying that all the elected officials, and I'm not saying you're wrong, I'm just saying that would be really sad.
But it is. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's sad. I'm trying to tell you, it's really sad because I actually Googled it and I studied it for about 2 days because I was like, why would somebody tell me to vote for somebody that never came from where I come from, don't look like me, don't have any cultural identification in me, and tell me that they know more about what's best for me than I do?
Well,
that doesn't make sense to me.
Okay, so then if that's the case, let's see who we going to cross out here of the candidates. Bloomberg.
Definitely.
Out.
Gone.
Biden.
Yeah, I can't vote.
Out.
I can't.
Who else you got?
We got
up
Bernie.
There on the stage.
Bernie's my guy.
You know, I like Tom Steyer, but you know, he might have to. He's out because.
Yeah, I don't really. I mean,
you know,
I
mean, Bernie. If by your definition that they don't come from where I come from, they don't understand my issues.
That's not really, you can't
almost
say that about,
none of them.
But I'm just saying, Bernie has been in the struggle with us for years.
Oh, man.
You know, we can't act like he ain't been there, though.
All I'm saying is,
whether you agree, he's been there.
He definitely has protested. He has been a part of, you know, civil rights issues. He has definitely carried the torch on behalf of the civil rights movement in different situations. In different
He's
situations.
Been a white ally.
But I would challenge that none of the people who are currently running for president deserve our vote in the way in which we have to vote for them now because of the fact that we got to get this guy out of office.
I think the only time in history I felt like that was with Obama.
And he is questionable.
Exactly.
But you know, we love Obama personally.
Exactly. But I don't think I've ever felt like somebody had to get my vote. I don't think nobody's.
Well, they do have to because we have to get rid of Trump.
Yeah, but I'm trying to tell you, I've never felt like the closest I felt after Obama was Bernie because he spoke directly to things that were.
His platform is the most bold.
It is, and you know, and it's a new way of thinking. He challenges the system and he says, look, why can't everybody go to school for free? Why can't everybody have health care? No, they can. We just got to make sure some of these billionaires a little less rich and we can support everything. Y'all find ways to do everything, but these are the most important things in the world. Your life and your education are the most important things. So why is that something? Right. So why is that something that people have to have money to get? Like, it doesn't make sense. So I'm with that.
I hear you, and today, you know what? On our next episode, we should really talk about these candidates.
Yeah, we can do that. We can break them down.
We haven't really talked about them.
We got a long time. You know what I'm saying?
This will be going on for the rest of the presidential cycle.
We got some time to talk about this.
Yeah, but we do need to really analyze these different folks because it's so much happening. You know, we were going to talk about the Super Bowl ads. I just really wanted to throw up when I watched. Did you watch?
I don't watch anything that has to do with Super Bowl.
You can't tell me you didn't see Shakira and J-Lo shaking around.
Anything. I don't watch the NFL and I don't watch Super Bowl. Not in my house.
Oh, you don't watch the NFL either. No, none of the games. You don't support any of the teams. So why now, when you have been very vocal about your support for support for Jay-Z. Like, you really want to see Jay win with what it is that he says that he's working on.
Exactly.
I think we all want to see him win. I certainly do. Even the toughest critics want to see what Jay has set forth to do actually come to fruition.
Okay.
Because it needs to.
And that's when I will watch the NFL. See, I'm applauding Jay because he has the
applauding.
I'm applauding
or supporting.
Supporting.
I mean, I'm not trying to change your words.
No, I'm saying both, because to have the wherewithal to take the criticism about what it's going to take to transform a situation, an organization that's been historically, racist, but has profit off black bodies and will continue to profit off black bodies, and to say to yourself, okay, they're going to continue to profit off black bodies. So how do we make it to where these black bodies have a say, to where we start to create ownership inside something that's been profiting off us for years, that labor has been profiting off us for years? How do we start to transform and start making it culturally sensitive, make people culturally identify with our things? That takes a lot, because you're going to be called every name in the world. So I applaud that, because everybody's not willing to do it. Some people are willing to sit there from their house and say, oh, you could have did this and you can buy this, but they don't do nothing. So I applaud anyone willing to take those stripes, take those whippings on the back. And the reason why I still don't watch the NFL is because what Kaepernick stood for was real. We are being killed at higher rates. We are being ignored. Black bodies aren't being valued. And the NFL punished him for that. So I still have a problem with that. Although there are things that I've expressed that I have different disagreements with both of them on. But the reality is,
both of whom?
Kaepernick and Jay-Z. I have disagreements on both of their approaches in the situation. But the reality is, I want to see, like you said, I want to see Jay succeed in his plight to try to diversify and change what's wrong within the NFL and make it a more level playing field. I want that to happen. But until I see that happening, because right now there's the product. It's like building a house, but I'm not going to move in the house until it's built. So I'm hopeful that he's going to do what he set out to do. Yesterday I watched him I seen it on the Instagram, and I reposted where him and Beyonce never stood for the national anthem. So to me, that shows that, okay, we're doing business, but the issue at hand, that America doesn't respect black people, is still something that's dear to me. And I don't want you to believe that because I've decided to come in here and try to transform this for my people, that I sold them out. So there's going to be different views. Everybody has a different point of view. But for me, I'm not watching it until I see the work that they say they want to do actually get done. That's why I don't watch the NFL yet.
But anyway, the ad that Trump's ad, which I thought was interesting, that there's been so much turmoil between black folks and the NFL, but yet Trump chose to place his advertisement specifically targeting black people during the show. I'm still, maybe there's some numbers that I don't know about, but the last I checked, the NFL was having issues with black viewership. I don't understand why he chose that venue to place a black ad. But, whatever. There's a bunch of conspiracies I could come up with around what they think about us, and the fact that sports is like the only place where we actually pay attention, but that's a whole different conversation. But the advertisement basically was about criminal justice reform, and he's basically touting his record on criminal justice reform. That the First Step Act has helped to free many people. I think Van Jones says like 7,000 people have gotten out of prison since President Trump has been in office. A lot of people work with him on that, Topeka Sam, and we are all for the fact that government is doing what it's supposed to do. Like, right? That's what you're supposed to do. Help to free people who shouldn't be in prison. Mm-hmm. However, he uses one woman who was free. That's the woman Alice Johnson, who Kim Kardashian supported. Yes, sir. He used her to create this ad around, and pretty much said, I'm the only one that can get this done, right? Mm-hmm. Like, some people talk about criminal justice reform, but I'm actually making it happen. And I just thought to use this black woman and her story as a prop, while at the same time you participate in racist behavioral patterns and put people in serious danger. And just the other day, blocked African countries from being able to come to the United States. It's called on social media, hashtag the African ban. It really, really bothers me that you would use this woman.
We understand that Trump is a businessman. Everything he do is strategic. When he freed her from the beginning, it was about strategy. When Kim Kardashian came and she's one of the most well-known people in the world, and she pleaded with him. And what a lot of people don't understand was, there was a lot of situations within Obama's administration where he commuted the most people in history because they shot down bills that would have allowed people like Alice to be set free.
Right.
So when they denied the bills that would her crime wasn't even she wasn't supposed to get out. It would have been hundreds of thousands of people that have been out.
Right. If what he was trying to do
was done, but nobody wants to have those conversations.
Right. That's true.
That's
a fact.
This is a fact. So when he wasn't able to do that, he started commuting sentences, which he was over 1,000 people. He commuted their sentence, means that he freed them, and he signed in an executive order to let people free. He wasn't able to get to Alice Johnson before, but she was on the list of one of the people that he was supposed to be free. But people don't have these conversations.
Right.
They don't have real live conversations about that. But her case is so drastic when you look, a mother who was sentenced to life for drugs and things of that nature, who had served how many, over 20?
She served a long time. I think she was in jail for like 30 years or something like that.
So when you look at it, it seemed like, wow, she shouldn't have been there. And he utilized that to play on the strings and the heartstrings of America to say, I've done something. Look, I've done that. Not saying that these judges that you put in are going to make sure that most of our kids never come home from prison.
Because the federal judges that they have been putting in office, that's the thing. It's like they're letting people out the front door for the cameras.
Listen to me. It's the bait and switch. What they're going to do is
bait and switch.
The people that go into jail now, you're going to have hell getting out of there.
Right.
So they're letting people in. Okay, these people been here over time. We're going to let them go. These crimes, we're commuting this. But when you go into this facility from now on, for the crimes, the minimums are going to be raised.
Yeah, they're
the
trying
criteria,
to change all of that.
all of these things are going to be different because they're opening new jails for a reason. They're not just opening new jails because, you know what, we want to stop crime. We're going to make sure that we let people go. No, they're opening new jails because they plan to fill them.
Right.
So this is a tactic that people don't understand that Trump pulls. So he knows what he's doing. He's been a reality TV star. He knows reality TV
and he knows
sells.
how to play.
He knows how to play
through the media. But and there's some folks that's like, all I care about is black people and black. But you can't support a person who says, I freed some folks from jail, but yet they have thousands of families, Mexican families and African families that they never really show you in the media, separated at the border with children in cages, children dying, families dying, people who have lost their children forever and will never see them again.
Those are people they need to get. So listen to me. If y'all smart, you'll go get those people. You'll go get the exonerated 5 who Trump said deserved to get the death penalty. Those are the people you get. We are happy.
Who are you talking to when you say if y'all people want to go?
I'm talking to all the presidential candidates. The rest of the presidential candidates, if you want to do something, he just brought Alice Johnson out, and we're so happy that she's home because she deserved to be home. But let's talk about the people that he kept in cages. Let's talk about people like the exonerated 5 that he put out full-page ads to say that they deserve the death penalty. And never, even to this day, after they were proven, DNA proved that they were innocent, he never even gave those men an apology.
No, actually, he doubled down and was like, I don't know about that. But, and back to the federal, the federal judges piece is so important. Because I don't know about
they're rolling back civil rights.
I don't know about the average person. Well, that's what his whole Supreme Court play was. The reason why he needs to stack the Supreme Court is because, and even he said in reference to impeachment and other things around, where he's been found to be engaging in criminal activity, he even said, that's okay, we'll take it to the highest court. That's you know why? Because he knows that the court is stacked. It's not really in his favor yet. And God, let's hope that Ruth Bader Ginsburg, that she stays as healthy as she can. And I don't want her to stay healthy just so she can hold the court. But in general, but he's trying to stack that court with Supreme Court nominations and Supreme Court, confirmed seats that will give the Republican Party the upper hand with the courts, so that whenever there are major cases like Roe v. Wade, which would reverse abortion and other really important things that they find to be problematic, they don't want us women to have our rights, civil rights, all these different things that people fought, lived, died for. They want to turn those things back. They know that the Supreme Court can do it. And so that's one level. But you also need the federal courts to advance these things to the dang on Supreme Court. So they're stacking. We playing chess. You know what y'all say? We playing checkers and they playing chess. Meanwhile, these people are in power positions, putting people in place to be able that when Trump is long gone, they would have changed things in our Constitution. They would have reversed very serious our rights, as you said. This is some serious shit.
No, it's very serious. It's extremely serious.
It's super serious.
We need to take it serious, man. Trump is such a dangerous but hilarious person. I was just looking at what he. No, it's hilarious because he congratulated. I don't watch the Super Bowl, but I seen.
But you heard
that he congratulated Kansas City on their huge win by saying, "You represented the great state of Kansas, and in fact, the entire USA so very well. Our country is proud of you."
Right, you talking about
now, as a president, somebody of just
the basic
grade school. You would know that Kansas City is not in Kansas. That's just.
Missouri.
But this is the president. God. The president of the United States doesn't know that Kansas City is not in Kansas. Mm. But this is the person that is the leader of the free world.
It was a post and delete.
Lord have mercy.
And it is Lord have mercy. It's serious. And, and Lord have mercy on us. This issue of black people in America still being considered slaves, that we don't have our full rights, that we don't. We're still in the Constitution considered to be 3/5 human. That has never been changed. We think about the 13th Amendment, which says that we are free unless we commit a crime and end up in prison, in which at that point you can be sentenced, if you will, to indentured servitude, which is how we end up making products for every corporation, answering the phone for the DMV. We're in prisons working, and when you get out of prison, because you have a criminal background, you can't even get a job for the same company you were working for while you were in prison. The deck is stacked against us. It's stacked against us, and we don't have time to play around.
That's why you try to make light. I laugh at it because like I told you, I watch it and it's a sham. Just watching this impeachment trial is a sham. Like, this man is literally running the White House like it's the mafia.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even a joke. Like, he's running with mafia rules. Like, he's running like it's a gangster organization. And, and that's what we're dealing with. So when you look at what's funny was him and Bloomberg are starting to have this exchange. Mm. Bloomberg is somebody that we're not fond of, especially from New York. We understand his stop and frisk and how those things have definitely plagued black people in our city. But when you look at the tactics, they both have the same mentality because they both. Bloomberg pretty much gangstered New York. He said, "You know what? I don't want to. I'm gonna get my term.
That's right.
I'm gonna change." Like, he knows.
No, but you got to explain that quickly because we got to wrap it up. But you got to explain when you say he just, because everybody, we not, you know what I'm saying?
So basically,
we talk to a broad
prior
audience.
to Bloomberg, you were only able to run for 2 terms.
You can only, occupy the mayoral seat.
You can only occupy the mayoral seat for 2 terms. Mm-hmm. And he somehow enacted some law. He changed
rules,
policy,
yeah.
and they made him. He was able to have 3 terms as a mayor.
Right.
So this is what Trump is doing. So this is familiar to Bloomberg. So Bloomberg is using the same exact tactics. He's talking about somebody. Bloomberg is talking about his hair and talking about his skin, and he's using the same.
Doing the bully
he's
tactic.
using the pig pen tactics, man. They go like Michelle Obama said, when they go low, we go high. No. Bloomberg said when they go low, we just go a little bit lower.
That's
you know what I'm saying? So, and I tell people all the time, that's what it's going to take to beat Trump. You cannot be politically correct. You cannot be this calm, savvy person, because he is talking to a demographic of people who don't give a fuck. Like, literally, they fed up, they mad, they've been feeling like their country has been taken over by these immigrants and by these blacks and people being celebrated. He's saying, nah, we gonna get this back. So, and if somebody ain't over here talking to their base the same way he's talking to his, you cannot beat this man. I want y'all to understand this. This man is playing a game.
Take off the gloves, right?
You got to take the gloves off. He is a celebrity
con
artist. The man is a con artist.
Rapist.
He has raped. Listen to me. This man is they got a rapist in the White House. He got hundreds of people who have accused him of this.
That wasn't hundreds.
I mean, I'm not talking about rape.
Yeah.
I'm talking about accuse him of criminal activities.
That's true.
Like rape, there's double-digit rape people who have accused him of rape.
That's true.
He has over hundreds of accusations of crimes.
Different types of crimes.
Stealing
from the people who work for him. He wouldn't pay them.
The man is a criminal, man.
A black folk said he treated them like garbage while they worked in his different Trump facilities. I mean, immigrants have issues with him. Then he had the Trump University, which ended up being a sham. And it's crazy how you can have a college, if you will, some educational institution that stole from people, that wasn't accredited, all these different things, and then you have to pay all these people back and still be the president. It's no way Obama could have done that.
Listen, we can have. Listen to me. I'm gonna stop because we can have a whole segment.
We're gonna talk
on
our next
the inadequacies of Donald Trump. We can have a whole podcast on that.
It really needs to be.
But we're gonna move on, and kind of wind down, and we're gonna get down to I don't get it.
I don't get it.
Like, I just don't get it. And we were talking about my mixtape, and we were talking about certain other things where there's support, where we need support in the movement, and certain things like we do. And a lot of people behind closed doors, they come to us and tell us how good a job that we're doing, and they give us hugs, and they want to pick your brain, and they want to have conversations with you, and they want to figure out, and they want to do all these things in private. They silently and privately celebrate you, but they never publicly support you. And I just don't get that. Like, to me, that's very, like, I don't understand why. How do you know? And they're in positions, because most of the people I'm speaking about, they're in positions to just give a kind word. If they would tweet about something that you were doing most of the time, it could change your tax bracket. It could change your whole life. It could change the struggle that you actually going through. It could elevate the movement. But most of these people don't do it. They'll tell you how they love what you do. They'll tell you how they celebrate you, how dope of a person you are, how they really feel you and they love you, but they will never, ever support you publicly. And I just don't get that. We've had this conversation all the time. Like, we go places, and, based on the work that we do, that is really authentic and comes from a place of us really just want to see our people in better positions. We travel a lot, and we see a lot of people, celebrities, who come up and they talk to us and tell us, yo, I love the work you do and do this. But these same celebrities and people in power, they haven't done anything to help the work that we do. They haven't done anything to make the work that we do any easier. And it pains me. You don't have any obligation to it. None of us have any obligation to anyone. But I just want to understand, if you celebrate somebody, if you say you believe in them, if you say you respect them, and you say that what they're doing is so dope, why don't you see the need to publicly, I'm going to say it again, publicly support those people?
I don't get it either, so I have nothing to say on that, because, it's a hurtful thing.
It's very hurtful.
When you know that people who you would imagine, and it's worse when you believe that somebody cares about you and they don't support you. But, I found over time that God will just help you see things you need to know and makes your circle tighter and stronger, because those who have been with us have really been with us.
I mean, I'm grateful for those who support us in private or the people who don't support us, but I'm not that type of person. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm authentic. If I say that I care for you, if I say that I support you, then I'm going to let the world know. But for those of you who not that way, and you want to secretly support us, we take donations.
Private
You know what I'm saying? You want to give private donations.
That's what's up.
Then that type of secret I can deal with. But don't secretly do nothing. You know what I'm saying? If you want to give secret donations, don't secretly do nothing. But we appreciate donations. Until Freedom, you can go to our Until Freedom page, and you can donate to Until Freedom right now, because the work always needs to be funded. Ongoing. So we're going to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Another episode. Like we said, we're not going to always agree. We're not going to always be right. But we're going to always be authentic.
Yeah. Peace.
That's how we own it.